What is it that I can teach you about the mind and the heart and the psyche of a teenager? Understanding what I call poetically the arc of adolescence, or again, remember, it's all poetry, the private midnight. What's a private midnight? It's my definition, it's my way of describing adolescence. A private midnight is that time in your life when you're alone in the world and you feel that your life hasn't started. It's as if you're on a highway, hitchhiking, waiting for somebody to just pick you up and say, I'll get you through until morning. When life begins and you have some agency and control over who you are. And you can answer with authenticity the questions that I want every adult to ask a teenager. Who are you when nobody's looking? Not on Facebook, but when you're by yourself. And whose arms do you fall into when life sucks? And what's the miracle you're waiting for? And tell me about the emptiness. And how does it feel? Describe it to me, because I know it's there. And what advice would you give to your parents if they think they'd listen without judgment? And who do you miss the most? And what did God say to you yesterday, if God spoke to you, if you believe? The journey towards adulthood, the private midnight. There's two things I want to teach you for me to get you to understand how to have a conversation with that creature in your car. And the first is this. There's a giant paradox that's in the soul of those kids at home right now, on their phones, on their iPads, and they're all three, computer, phone, iPad, all in front of them, right? They're doing it right now as we speak. And in their soul is this giant paradox. And it's everything you need to know about how to get a conversation started with them about their secret life. It's this. They don't want to get caught. They're deathly afraid of getting found out. They're so frightened of the wound, the shame, the faithful ache being exposed. They're afraid of getting caught in the act of becoming. And that is not even a complete sentence. The act of becoming what? But I like to say that a teenager is an incomplete sentence in search of syntax and poetry and proper punctuation. And that is your job. You provide the proper punctuation. You don't write the sentences as much as you'd like to. You provide the grammar and some of the poetry. And so they're not complete. So they're afraid of getting caught in the act of becoming. Becoming what? Something they're not supposed to be. Gay, trans questioning, bulimic, fat. Someone who doesn't believe in the God that you believe in. Lonely, empty, afraid. They're afraid of not being their Facebook profiles. They're afraid of not being who you want them to be, what society wants them to be, what religion says they should be. Afraid of getting caught. And here's the paradox which you got to understand. While they're afraid of getting caught in the act, they want to get caught. They want to get caught. But if you're taking notes, here's how I want you to do it. Comma, by a loving other. They want to get caught by a loving other. Who are the loving others in this room, in their lives? All of you. Right? I just got new business cards. And it says, motivational speaker, health educator. Really, it should say loving other. But that's kind of creepy. So I didn't put that there. But we are the loving others in a teenager's life, or soon-to-be teenager's life. Right? The ones who provide the opportunity to say yes to their pain and yes to the wound and yes to the faithful ache. Not fix it, not change it, not ground them for it, but just witness it and allow it.